They only asked me to water the plants. Just that. 2 weeks, keep the lights on, collect the mail. But when my wife walked upstairs and opened the wrong door, everything I thought I knew about my parents died. What she saw in that closet wasn't just a crime. It was a monument, a museum of the dead, hidden behind the people who raised me. And while I sat at their kitchen table eating triangle sandwiches, 17 bodies were hanging just 1 floor above. Part 1. The closet was never empty. They only asked me to water the plants. That's how it started. One of those innocent requests parents make when they're packing for a vacation. Something small, something routine. 2 weeks in Clearwater, my mother had said, sliding the spare key across the table as she sipped her wine and handed me a color-printed itinerary like I was their travel agent. Just stop by a few times. You know how delicate the orchids are. Dad was finally retiring. They had this whole sun-soaked escape planned, and they looked so normal, so proud of themselves. Jenna and I smiled, said yes, like we always did. It felt domestic, almost boring. We drove over the day they left. The house was too quiet, too clean. It smelled like old coffee and the lavender cleaner my mom had used since I was a kid. That smell always made me feel safe, familiar. But this time, something about it scraped under my skin. The lights were on timers, the mail stacked neatly. Mom had even left a spreadsheet. Color-coded instructions on which plants to mist, which ones to rotate. Jenna laughed when she saw it. Of course she did, she said, flipping through it like it was a joke. I remember that laugh. I remember how fast it vanished. I started with the succulents in the kitchen while Jenna went upstairs. I'm using their bathroom, she called. The good one. Heated floors. I told her Mom wouldn't like that. She didn't care. They're in Florida, she said with a shrug. Then came silence. Not the kind of silence where someone's just out of earshot, but the kind that makes you stop breathing, the kind that presses against your chest. Then footsteps. Running. She appeared at the top of the stairs, face white, hands shaking. We need to go, she whispered. Now. My heart didn't ask questions. It just obeyed. She grabbed my arm so tight her nails left half moons in my skin. We were in the car before I could speak. I looked at her. She wouldn't look at me. Just kept staring at the house like it was watching us. What the hell happened? I asked. Her voice cracked. Call 911. Tell them to bring everyone. I didn't understand, but I believed her. Something in her tone made my stomach knot. I pulled over 3 blocks away. My hands shook so badly I dropped the phone twice before I got the number right. When the dispatcher asked the nature of the emergency, I looked at Jenna. Her lips trembled. She took the phone and said the words that turned my world inside out. There are bodies, she said, in their closet, hanging, not mannequins, not Halloween decorations, real. The operator asked how many. She whispered, at least 3, maybe more. And there's stuff, photos, jewelry, driver's licenses. Please, just send someone, please. She gave the address. Then she dropped the phone in her lap like it had burned her. And we waited, with the engine running, as if the house might come for us. Part 2. The door she shouldn't have opened. The sirens came fast. First the local police, then unmarked vehicles, then agents with laminated badges and calm, rehearsed expressions. We watched from the car as they surrounded my parents' house like it was alive. Jenna clutched my hand so tightly I couldn't feel my fingers. She hadn't said another word since the call. Just kept replaying the image in her mind. When they finally waved us over, we were escorted separately. She was trembling. I was numb. I didn't even know what I was supposed to feel. Guilt? Confusion? Horror? I hadn't seen anything. I only knew the house, and now the house was something else entirely. At the station, they separated us. 6 hours of questions. The same ones, over and over. Jenna repeated her story like it was someone else's. "I thought the left door was the bathroom," she said. "It's a walk-in closet, a big one." And they were posed, dressed like people, like dolls, but they were cold. I could smell it. Not rot, but something chemical. They were preserved. The officer asked if she touched anything. She shook her head. I ran. I ran so fast I don't even remember getting down the stairs. Her voice cracked. I thought they might be in the house still, watching. Meanwhile, they showed me a photo. 2 familiar smiles in Hawaiian shirts, dragging suitcases through an airport. My parents, taken less than 4 hours earlier at Miami International. They didn't go to Florida, the detective said. They boarded a flight to Costa Rica. I stared at the photo. That's not possible, I said stupidly. But of course it was. Of course it was. They had planned this. Maybe for years. Maybe since before I knew what death smelled like. The house was set up for discovery, the FBI agent said. They knew someone would eventually find it. They chose you. 17. That was the number. 17 people identified over the following months. DNA, dental records, names that had once been faces on missing person flyers, hikers, businessmen, retired couples on road trips, no local ties, all strangers to our town, to our lives, lured in somehow. The agents found vacation listings, fake host profiles, messages inviting tired travelers to stay just one night. My mother had volunteered at rest stops, handing out coffee, maps, kind smiles. I remembered her apron, her clipboard. Hospitality is everything, she used to say. I thought she meant table settings. The closet wasn't just a place. It was a stage. The bodies were hung like exhibits, adorned, labeled. Some had trinkets, bracelets, watches, even lipstick. The back wall held what they called trophies, driver's licenses, keys, Polaroids, photos of people mid-laughter, mid-life. Some were taken after death, staged, stiff smiles forced onto cold faces. My mother had always been a photographer. My dad? He worked in a funeral home in his 20s. I'd forgotten that. Or maybe I'd buried it. Now, every memory felt poisoned. Every family photo like evidence. Every birthday card like a trapdoor I hadn't seen. Part 3. 17 ghosts at the dinner table. The first time I went back to the house, it was already hollow. Not just empty. Hollow, like the air itself was missing weight. Crime scene tape fluttered in the wind like cautionary ribbons around a secret no one was ready to name. They let me in with gloves and an escort. Told me I had 15 minutes to collect personal belongings not related to the case. I walked through the kitchen where Mom used to make those perfect little triangle sandwiches, egg salad, tuna with too much dill. I used to love them. Now I could taste formaldehyde every time I thought of mayonnaise. I passed the staircase. I couldn't go up. Not yet. Not with the images Jenna had described still crawling under my skin. So I drifted. Touched the keys on the piano that hadn't been played in years. Touched the banister my father varnished every spring like clockwork. Touched the orchid leaves that had started to curl from neglect. I felt like I was touching corpses, just smaller, greener ones. I don't remember crying. I don't think I did. The grief didn't come like a flood. It was more like mold, slow, silent, invisible until it took over everything. The FBI called what my parents did a collection, not murders, not crimes of passion, a collection. That word never left me. My parents curated death like they were building a museum only they could walk through. And for what? Some dark hunger no one could diagnose. The profiler said they compartmentalized. said I lived in a sealed-off room of their lives. They loved you, she told me, and they killed strangers. Like those two things could coexist in the same human heart. Like memory and monstrosity could share a kitchen table. Jenna didn't sleep for weeks. Every creak in the house made her flinch. Every closet became a coffin. One night, around 3 a.m., she whispered, "If I'd opened that door last year, if I had seen it then." Her voice cracked. "Do you think we'd still be alive?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. Because I didn't know. Maybe we were just lucky. Or maybe we were sacred to them, too valuable to destroy. I started to question every visit, every cup of tea, every time Mom asked us to stay the night. Was it love or inventory? The media never got the full story. The FBI made sure of that. They were protecting the investigation, but they were also protecting me and Jenna. But whispers spread. My co-workers pulled away. Our neighbors never looked us in the eye again. The house went unsold, became folklore. The death closet, kids called it online. I moved us to another state, changed our name. I didn't want to be the son of collectors. I didn't want to hear my last name and think of meat hooks and trophies. But no matter where we moved, I still saw them. 17 ghosts at every dinner table. Watching. Part 4. They took everything but the guilt. 6 months after they vanished, I got a postcard. No return address. Just a photograph of a beach at sunset. Costa Rica, probably. You could see 2 beach chairs, untouched, facing the horizon. On the back, my mother's handwriting. Still neat, still polite. Taking care of our new plants. Hope you're watering the old ones. Love, Mom and Dad. Jenna burned it before I could read it twice. She said it felt radioactive, like holding that card gave them a way back into our lives. I let her. But the image never left me. I'd lie awake at night imagining their new garden, new home, new closet. The FBI said the postcard confirmed they were alive, but not much else. No fingerprints, no digital trail, fake passports, burner phones, cash-only everything. They'd planned this escape with the same obsessive precision they used to stage their victims. My father once told me he hated improvisation. Everything in life is solvable, he used to say, if you plan well enough. I always thought that made him reliable. Now I knew it made him dangerous. They didn't flee in panic. They vanished with celebration. The postcard wasn't a breadcrumb, it was a signature. Sometimes I wonder if they blamed us for discovering the secret too early. Maybe they thought they had more time. Maybe they were going to tell us eventually in some twisted way. Or maybe we were just pawns in their finale, the ones chosen to unveil the masterpiece. I think about that a lot, especially when I catch myself repeating things they used to say. Phrases, habits, ways of slicing vegetables or organizing a cabinet. Their fingerprints are still on me, even if the government scrubbed their names from the system. That's the part no one prepares you for, the stain that doesn't show on skin. We never had children. After everything, Jenna said she couldn't bring life into a world where closets held corpses and smiles were masks. I didn't argue. What kind of legacy would that be anyway? I sold my father's watch, gave away my mother's books, got rid of every photo with them in it. Still, they haunted everything. Grocery stores, parking lots, public parks. Every time I saw a couple over 60 holding hands, I wondered. Every time someone smiled too wide, spoke too sweetly, I thought, what's behind your door? And then there was the guilt. Not for what they did, no, that belonged to them. My guilt was quieter. It wore my last name. It whispered, "You should have known." It replayed every Christmas dinner, every barbecue, every normal Sunday afternoon spent downstairs while they curated death above our heads. It reminded me that I never opened that closet. Not once. And maybe I should have. Maybe some part of me didn't want to see. Maybe some part of me already knew and chose not to know. The therapist called it protective blindness. I just called it survival. Part 5. The closet we carry. I never saw the closet. That's the irony. All of this, and I never even laid eyes on it. Jenna made sure of that. She said no one should carry what she saw, and I believed her. I still do. But that doesn't mean I don't imagine it. Late at night, when sleep feels like betrayal, I see flashes. Not images, impressions. Ropes against drywall. Pale arms folded neatly, a mannequin smile that isn't. My parents dressed them, preserved them, displayed them like art. While I sat in the kitchen, chewing on sandwiches, complimenting the gardening. How many times did I say, "Your orchids look beautiful," while death wilted upstairs? The house is gone now. Some real estate developer tore it down. New construction. Modern, clean lines, all glass and white stone. I drive by sometimes, just to make sure it's really gone. But it's not. Not really. The closet lives in us now. In Jenna's jump every time a hinge squeaks. In the way we both pause before opening any closed door. We don't say it out loud, but it's there. In the silence. In the shared glance. In the way we always leave one closet light on, just in case. We told people our parents died in a car crash. It was easier, cleaner. No follow-up questions, no newspaper clippings, no nightmares. Just a sharp line we could walk away from. But even lies leave shadows. I keep a list of the 17 names on a piece of paper I never look at, but can't throw away. I don't know who they were. Not really. But they lived. They laughed. They trusted my parents. And that trust cost them everything. I think of their families. The ones who never got goodbye. The ones who never got answers. And I wonder why we were spared. Sometimes I get angry. Not just at them, but at myself. For still missing them. For dreaming of Mom humming while she trimmed her ferns. For wishing I could call Dad to ask how to fix the garbage disposal. For remembering the love and forgetting the horror, if only for a second. The profiler said both versions of them were real. The ones who raised me and the ones who hunted strangers.